Auburn Blitz is now on the air. Your daily look into what's happening in Auburn athletics. With your host, Andy Graham, Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, War Eagle.
Good Wednesday afternoon. Welcome into the Auburn Blitz. Living where we do, JJ, it's impossible to start this program today talking about Auburn sports. Got to go into the news conference about 10 to 12 miles up the road as we are right here at Lake Broadcasting, bringing you the coverage here of what we just heard. And JJ, it was tough news to hear. 16 and 17-year-old that look to be under arrest, more to possibly come. The news conference was carried by most all major news outlets out there, including y'all here, and just give a little quick update of what we heard.
Well, a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old have been arrested. Apparently, they're going to be charged with 4 counts of reckless murder. That initially, that's what the district attorney said, and then. You know, and just like I said, when we walked in, the story gets sadder by the day.
It does.
You know, the lives lost, and here's 2 more teenage lives needlessly thrown away. You know, it's just it gets worse by the day.
Definitely
and
does.
We expect more arrests to come.
Yep, Travis and Tyreek McCullough was the names that were given out of Tuskegee. That was the weird part of the whole story for me. JJ, living right here in Tallapoosa County my entire life and living and growing up in Alexander City and knowing Davil, just didn't have a lot of interaction with Tuskegee. So for that to be the place for these kids to come from that caused all the trouble that we saw Saturday night took me back a little bit. I don't know about you.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't know, you know, in full disclosure, Saturday, my wife and I went down to Compers, down at Stillwater's. A friend of ours was playing out there, and we wanted to spend some time with him, which we did. And then we stopped by Corey Martin's place. He was having his grand opening. Yep. We wanted to say hi to him. And then we made our way home. We wound up being out there a little later than we wanted to be. But we left 34 at about 10:40.
Yep.
Arrived in downtown Davil at 10:50.
Wow.
And immediately, you know, we saw the 3 ambulances. They're pulling stretchers out as fast as they can. Just a madhouse there. And so we turned away and went the other direction. And, you know, we were kind of speculating it couldn't have been a traffic accident because speed limit's 25 through there. You're not going to do
that much damage.
That kind of damage.
Yes.
And, you know, I told my wife on the way home, I said, I'm afraid we're going to hear a really sad story here. And I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it does not look real good. So, but yeah, it's been a heartbreaking story to follow the whole time, just in every way.
Definitely is for families like yours as well that have really grabbed a hold of the city of Davil. You know, you've got investments going in over there, and you're one of many that have invested in Davil, and Davil's really on a growth swing, and you just hate to see that kind of news come down.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of those things where. You know, and Davil's a strong community, like Alex City is, like all of these, like a lot of these communities around here. And you know, this too shall pass seems a little flippant, but it's you have to think that way because there's a lot of good people in Davil that have taken these families in and and are doing what they can to help with this situation. Law enforcement's got to do their job, and then the people of Davil and the leadership in Davil, has to do their job, which is to move past this tragedy and try to make of it what you can.
I think all 3 that we heard from today did a great job of communicating what's going on and trying to make sure that justice is served. And I feel real confident that those 3 that spoke are going to make sure that justice is served for those families that have loved ones lost and many loved ones that are still in critical condition. In many cases. So our thoughts and prayers go out to each of you out there in the Davil community. We do, like Seagrass said earlier today, we feel like it's one of ours. It's our family here as well. So our thoughts and prayers
how many times have we talked about Phil Dowdell over the last, 2-3 years? And
I told Brett yesterday, he was one. I took my nephew and my son with us to broadcast the Dayville Benjamin Russell game.
Right.
And Dayville, I already knew had a really good basketball team, but I haven't seen the kids because we don't go on Friday nights and watch them play football because Brett and I are calling Benjamin Russell games. And so it was the first time I saw some up close and personal. It wasn't that they had great height, and I'm going somewhere with this. It wasn't but Dowdell was the one that stood out to me. Yeah. I mean, he's maybe 5'11", and, buddy, he played above the rim, and his athleticism jumped off the court to you, and just how hard he played. And I kept looking over at Brett. My gosh, Brett, they're only about 6 foot tall. We can't get a rebound. I mean, we just can't. And he was one of the key ones. So just a terrible news to hear there, because I think he had a great future ahead playing football at Jacksonville State, and I know that you've called those games and covered those teams over the year, JJ. He was a special athlete for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, and a leader on the team too. So
yeah, tough loss there, and once again, our thoughts and prayers go out to Dayville. JJ, we're in the middle of high school sports season. We got a lot going on when we talk about that, but sitting here on the Auburn Blitz, unfortunately, our two baseball teams are in the middle of a tough stretch of SEC play. When you look down at the SEC baseball standings right now, Vandy, Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, all of those teams really great records when you look on that eastern side. Over here on the western side, it's Arkansas, LSU, A&M, Alabama, and Auburn coming in right there together. Alabama at 6-9 after winning that game on Sunday, and Auburn coming in at 5-10. Actually now 21-15-1 on the season, whereas Alabama is 26-12 on the season after a loss to UAB last night. We're middle of the pack. Don't know what else to say about it. Both teams.
And look, middle of the pack in the Southeastern Conference baseball right now is still pretty good, but it's probably not going to get you where you want to go at the end of the year.
No, it's not. And unfortunately, we're seeing many of these midweek games where Auburn and Alabama going out there. Auburn gets a big win last night over Samford, 13-3. That's a team that's not ever an easy victory over. UAB under Casey Dunn now has become a team that doesn't have a great record this year, but you and I know after all that we've watched with Casey, he's kind of a chip off the old block with his dad, Sammy, and what all he was able to build there in Birmingham, and now the head coach. We saw what he built at Samford. He's going to build something great there at UAB, too. You can just feel it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think UAB is on the upswing. Troy, you can take a look at Troy. Jack State now with Rodriguez in there, you get there's a lot of fun football in the state.
Well, it's an easy sell here in this state. We got a lot of great athletes, and unfortunately, though, for baseball, Auburn has made it to 2 out of the last 3 College World Series. But if you look at the SEC records, it's not like Auburn's throwing some kind of Andy record out there every year.
Right.
Very solid teams that at times can get things going. But the SEC records haven't looked what you're looking down at Vandy right now at 13-2. Has never really looked where you're checking out Florida right now at 11-4, or Arkansas at 11-4. It's been more around a 500 mark there. And unfortunately, since the Jim Wells and Hal Baird days, JJ, that's really where these two programs here in this state have been.
Yeah, kind of middle of the pack in the conference. And I don't know what the fix is for that, but
we've heard in years past all of the bordering states and the lotteries and the scholarship limitations that are imposed on our state due to not having a lottery here in this state has always hindered our recruiting efforts and really hindered us keeping kids in state. JJ.
Well, and the question is though, but if that logic follows, then should not NIL be able to compensate for some of that?
I would think so. Yeah. I would think that it would kind of offset it, especially if you get all your ducks in a row and have a plan in place on how you're going to offset that loss in scholarship money that, say, someone that goes over to Mississippi State that has access to that you wouldn't hear at Auburn and Alabama. I hope it does. And I look down at the rosters for both of our teams, and it's not like we're struggling getting great talent. It feels like we've got great talent. It's just right now with the Auburn side, it's depth when it comes to arms.
And when it comes to arms. And that's the thing about college baseball, too, is you've got to have – you've got to have 3 reliable starters. But then you've got to have a 4 and a 5 behind them that you can go to if somebody's having an off day, that you can go to in a midweek game, that you can – the things you can do – that 4th and 5th guy becomes so important.
Well, it would be it's rearing its ugly head again for Auburn with injuries.
Yeah.
You know, Joseph Gonzalez is out. He would be our number one. He would be many teams' number one, but we don't have access to him. So that third, fourth, fifth guy becomes a one or a two at that point. And so Gonzalez, hopefully, it sounds like as of last week, I haven't had an update here recently, so if you're listening out there and you do have an update, will we see him back? Last week I'd heard possibly we would see him back, and that would be a great addition if he was 90 to 95% healthy, JJ, because you can't be hindered whatsoever in SEC play. These bats will expose you, won't they?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, the way people are hitting the ball right now, and you know, we can talk about the reasons for that, you know, but as bat technology continues to improve, and they'll have to make adjustments on that at some point. But yeah, you better have some pitching, and if you don't, you know, if you leave too many over there, you're going to see. Well, we talked about walks last week. You talked about walks and how many walks you're seeing, and the same thing applies. If you get it over the plate and it's not effective, it's even worse than a walk because it's going the other way.
Well, you know, it feels like some years we kind of pull it back a little too far. You know, I think back to the year after, I think it was 2011 when we saw that BB Core bat come out.
Right.
The 2010 version of Auburn, you know, was a record-breaking home run season, and then 2011 you come back out and they BB Core it down, and it dumbs it down to where Auburn didn't have but a few home runs the entire year.
A good example, when they made that switch, there was a player over at Benjamin Russell, you might remember, named Horn.
Yeah, sure.
Who hit 11 home runs the year before.
Yeah.
Hit 3 the next year.
Yeah, it really, it'll bring it back down. Sure does.
Yeah.
256-234-6221 is our phone number. Love to hear from you out there.
The interstate is backed up this morning due to an accident.
So you don't like sitting still on the interstate? Get the free Algo traffic app. With Algo, you'll have the information you need to avoid problems on your route, to work, to home, to the beach. Traffic backups, wrecks, lane closures, all with current info and live traffic camera feeds. Know before you go with Algo Traffic, ALGO Traffic from the Alabama Department of Transportation. Get it today and arrive on time.
Lake Martin Garage, located on Highway 280 in Jackson's Gap, has been serving our area since 1993. From routine maintenance such as oil changes, tune-ups, and rotating and balancing your tires, to transmission and engine repair, our trained and certified mechanics will get you back on the road better than before. Need a tow? With a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week towing service, Lake Martin Garage has local and long-range pickup. Trust your vehicle needs to the professionals at Lake Martin Garage. Call 256-825-6139, or better yet, stop in and see them today. Lake Martin Garage.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro in Alexander City is the perfect lender for all your mortgage needs. Property values have increased and interest rates have never been so low. So if you haven't looked at refinancing your house in the last 6 to 12 months, Mortgage Pro is here to help you take advantage of that. Our team is closing loans in 15 days or less, so give us a call at 256-397-0248 and let our team go to work for you today.
Don't be caught in a dirty vehicle. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing will have your vehicle or boat looking like brand new in no time, and you'll be back driving in style. They specialize in detailing, paint correction, gel coat restoration, and ceramic coating. Take it to the professionals at Lake Martin Mobile Detailing. Call them today at 256-794-2328 or stop by and see them at 702 McCarty Road in Dadeville. Mention this ad and receive $10 off. Lake Martin Mobile Detailing for your cleanest vehicles around.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
SCAG, the toughest name in lawnmowers. Unmatched quality and performance for over 3 decades. The clear choice, the best mower money can buy for work or at home. Top lawn care professionals and discerning homeowners know that SCAG means productivity and reliability. Every SCAG mower is proudly built right here in the USA. Don't settle for anything less than simply the best. SCAG.
Satterfield Outdoor Living on Highway 280 in Alex City.
J.A. Smith Construction, with 19 years experience, is your trusted choice for construction. Site clearing and grading for new home construction, basement excavation, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexander at J.A. Smith Construction at 334-531-0199 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
JJ, got to take advantage of having you on the program once a week just to spin a little positive Alabama news in there for you. And my gosh, if you're not an Alabama college football, professional football, just like good individuals that seem to handle themselves well and positive things come their way, then I don't know much about you, because when I see the news come across on Jalen Hurts yesterday, I go, that's great. I really am proud for that man, because he handled himself in some negative situations. I don't know if it's overly negative. Just most people would take getting benched, not as professional as he did. And he embraced 2 fan bases now in college football. He's still embraced by Alabama. He's embraced by Oklahoma, like both would like to call them.
He will never pay for a meal in Philadelphia again.
He definitely will not. and he could easily pay for it after signing the biggest contract in NFL history.
In NFL history, $51 million a year. And the thing is, it's not an unfair contract because it's a 5-year deal. He's only 26 or 25, whatever he is.
Mm-hmm.
The way he plays the game, he's one of those guys, kind of like Cam Newton, where when he hits his 30s, the body is going to react to all those hits.
Great point.
It is hard to play that style of a running quarterback in the NFL, of a quarterback who does run. Let's not call him a running quarterback, a quarterback who does run.
Yeah.
Hard to play that style into your 30s, right? You can play Tom Brady style into your 40s.
Yeah.
But in your 30s, so it's a 5-year deal. He's going to be 31 or so when the deal is done. And if that starts to take a toll on him, then Philadelphia can go in another direction, whatever. So it's fair to Philadelphia, and it's certainly fair to him. But we were talking during the break. Jalen Hurts is the kind of kid you hope your kids grow up to be. He came into Alabama in 2016 as he was the 3rd-string quarterback when that season started.
Mm-hmm.
The 3rd-string quarterback. The starter was Cooper Bateman, I think. And they opened against USC, and Bateman looked terrible for a couple of drives. So they bring in the number 2 guy, and he transferred out. I forget his name. And he looked terrible for a couple of drives. And Saban says, look, put the Hurts kid out there.
Yep.
The 18-year-old. Let's put the freshman out there. Takes the job, wins SEC Offensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
Just an incredible season. And leads a drive to take the lead in the last 2 minutes of the national championship game. Just so happened Deshaun Watson had enough time.
Was on the other side,
right?
yes.
Then the following year, great year. The passing was a little inconsistent. And then you get to the Georgia game, and they just couldn't do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just so happened you had a generational talent behind you who could sling it. And lost the job to Tua, sticks around that year, talks to Saban. Saban says, hey, I'm not going to make you a backup. When I put you in, the ones will play with you. You're going to have good stuff to put on tape for the NFL. Give me this year, and let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
He did. Then he transferred in. He was going to transfer to Maryland because that's where his offensive coordinator went.
Remember.
Loxley.
Yep.
Saban says, he goes, well, I'm thinking about transferring to Maryland. I'm thinking about Oklahoma. He said, well, who has better players? He said, well, Oklahoma has better players. Then that's where I want to go. So he winds up transferring to Oklahoma, wins the job there, has a great season.
Up for Heisman Trophy, yep.
Goes to the NFL as a backup behind Carson Wentz, who a lot of people thought was going to be the face of the franchise in Philadelphia for 10, 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
eventually takes the job in the second year. And now he's in high school. Like I said, that determination, he's a coach's son, which probably plays into some of that. His dad's a high school coach. But the hard work and the determination and the stick-to-itiveness and the professionalism and, how he handles himself at every press conference and every, he's what you hope your kids grow up to be.
The unwillingness to throw anyone under the bus.
That's right.
That's something to be said right there. I mean, he had so many opportunities to say, woe is me.
Yeah.
And I never even once saw him even act like woe is me on the sideline or anything. Just has always handled himself in a professional manner. And you do look down, it's 5 years, $255 million, a $24 million signing bonus, $180 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
The man's set. He's generationally set. And he's earned being set.
There's an interesting piece of trivia about how Jalen Hurts runs his organization, right? Which, if you're that level of pro football player, you are an organization.
Yeah.
His entire management structure, from his agent to his financial planner to his publicist, an entirely female management structure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, and I wonder. I'd like to hear why.
Yeah, I would too. But it's an entirely female.
Because someone that's handled himself as well as he has, there's a reason for everything this man's doing. I mean, he's just brilliant. So, again, great news right there, and which brings up the quarterback situation. Let's go over to Auburn and talk about quarterbacks and get your thoughts. So we talked a little bit about it last week, but it does feel like, listening into Hugh Freeze, that we're in the market for a quarterback, JJ, and transfer portal opening up, and see some names that are entering that portal, not only from Auburn, but from other places that are deciding they're looking for somewhere else. And just your thoughts, does Auburn go out there and try their best to get a quarterback they can plug and play in the early goals?
I think they're going to try. I think the question that has to be asked, not only by Auburn, but by the whatever quarterback's thinking of transferring to Auburn, are you coming in and it's, plug and play, start it right away? Are you that person, right? Every now and then you'll see a quarterback. I don't think anybody thought Jalen Hurts was transferring to Oklahoma to be a backup. Yeah. He was going to start from day one. I think Spencer Rattler didn't transfer to South Carolina.
Good point.
With the thought of even possibly being the backup. He was going to be the man. And so I think, is there someone, and some of these quarterbacks I don't know enough about, is there someone good enough that that guy, instant plug and play, he's the starter the day he arrives on campus?
Please, Auburn fans, pass those along. The top 5, if you had a wish list of top 5 quarterbacks that seem to be on the transfer portal that you would go and grab and would be an immediate impact guy. Here's the storyline for me, though, JJ. I'm a Robbie Ashford guy.
Yeah.
I'm watching him play, and I see his skill set, and I'm sitting here hoping and praying that Hugh Freeze can make him a little bit more efficient throwing the football, but the athleticism just jumps out at you. And so I'm not one just to throw him away. I don't care who we go and grab, JJ.
I agree. I think Robbie Ashford, I've said this for a year, Robbie Ashford has all the tools to be an outstanding SEC quarterback. Can he put it all together?
Yeah.
Don't know, but the tools are there. You've seen that every now and then he'll make that throw and you go, wow, that's a big-time throw.
Or that run, or that physical play.
And, everything's there.
Got a little Jalen Hurts in it.
Yeah, everything's there.
Yes.
Can him and Hugh Freeze get together and put it all together so that, I'm not talking about being an All-American this coming year.
Yeah.
But to start to see that growth and progression.
Funny, we started
all
the
segment.
segment.
Tools are there.
Started the segment talking about Jalen Hurts, and we ended talking about someone that to me is potentially the imps of him. Just a big, physical, hard-running, speedy guy that hopefully handles himself as well as Jalen Hurts and can get as efficient as Jalen Hurts has since he's moved on to the NFL. Go ahead and take another break here on the Auburn Blitz.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
Country Clipper zero-turn mowers are designed for comfort, accessibility, and ease of use. Only Country Clipper offers your choice of steering options with industry-exclusive joystick steering or twin lever steering. Their patented stand-up deck, standard on every model, allows for quick access to the underside of the deck for routine maintenance. With a wide front step and optional handrail, getting on or off your mower has never been easier. Stop by Fun Carts of Opelika today for a test drive. Country Clipper mowers, designed for you. Fun Carts of Opelika, located at 618 Lee Road, 113 in Opelika, Alabama.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Continental Roofing is your local roofer. If you think you have roof damage, call Continental Roofing for a free inspection and let us provide all the paperwork necessary to open your insurance claim. We work very well with all insurance companies, but we work for you. Your interests come first. You have assurance that Continental will install a quality roof at a fair price. In the unlikely case that you have a warranty issue, you can have the peace of mind knowing that Continental Roofing is your local roofer.
No monthly payments for 90 days at Glenn Smith Buick GMC in Opelika. New GMC Sierra Crew Cabs discounted up to $10,000 off. New GMC Terrains up to $5,250 off. And new Buick Encore GX up to $4,750 off. Shop online anytime at glennsmith.com. That's GLYNN Smith.com.
We have over 200 new and used vehicles on the ground or on the way. Get ready to smile.
You know, we're talking during the break, and it is funny how quarterbacks cannot work out in one system. Go to a different system altogether, different coaches, different quarterback coaches, and then the next thing you know, they're Brett Favre at Green Bay. And yeah. It's a position that's really odd in that way.
Yeah, Jerry Glanville had no intention of putting Brett Favre on the field in Atlanta. I think they traded him for a third-round pick. But, you know, of course, he goes to Green Bay, becomes a Hall of Famer. You know, so it is funny. Now, there are some quarterbacks that are going to work. Tom Brady's going to work wherever you go.
Oh, yeah. Peyton Manning was going to work wherever
Peyton
he
Manning
went.
was going to work, whether he's at Denver, whether he's in Indianapolis. And, you know, there are guys like that. But if you're a quarterback, we saw it with Russell Wilson this year, great in Seattle for all those years, and didn't look like he'd ever played football before when he gets to Denver.
And he was one that I would say he's going to work everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
You know, I remember watching at NC State and then watching him move on to Wisconsin, and hoping that he would end up at Auburn at that time, hoping we could go out there and do what we did with Cam Newton, but it didn't work out. He ends up at Wisconsin, does the same, and then goes to the NFL, and then it's very odd how you can maneuver around and not work out. But back to the Jalen Hurts, highest contract in NFL history. I just didn't see it. You know, I underestimated him whenever he went to Oklahoma. Thought he was a running guy. Yeah. I thought he was slightly better than Eric Crouch.
Right.
You know, that's just a Scott Frost at Nebraska guy. Right. That if you put him in the Tommy Frazier, if you put him in the right system, he just happened to be a generation behind what you got with those great wishbone quarterbacks, where he would have been amazing. But, hey, he's proven all of us wrong, and he's laughing his way right to the bank right now.
I tell you who hates seeing that contract is the Baltimore Ravens, because they're in a contract dispute with Lamar Jackson. And all this does is push the number higher that Lamar is going to want.
Well, and I heard a talk yesterday about those two quarterbacks, and the one thing that has so many not questioning this contract for Jalen Hurts is the way he played in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And I think Lamar's won one football game in the playoffs.
He was responsible for 4 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, in the Super Bowl.
He'd won MVP.
Three rushing and 1 passing.
He was MVP if they win.
Threw for 300 yards, ran for, 70? Something like that.
I mean, so I think that the point that they're making is until Lamar shows that he can do what Jalen did, then how can you ask what Jalen got? Because, Jalen's, proven that he can carry a team to that level too.
Yeah, and Lamar has had, 1, he's missed like 15 games over the last couple of years. 2, hasn't been able to advance in the playoffs. So Jalen Hurts has taken a team to the Super Bowl. So there's a definite line there dividing that.
Transfer portal has opened up, and you and I have talked a lot about the offensive line play for Auburn and the need to get that offensive line up to an SEC standard that all of us Auburn fans have hoped for and dreamed of for at least the last decade, since it seems like we fell off the map recruiting offensive linemen in many regards. And I wanted to bring this to your attention and see what you think about it. So many pointed from the NFL that Gus Malzahn system just did not parlay into an NFL offensive lineman, just based off of what terminology you're having to use and what type of blocking systems that they're involved in. And just your thoughts there, because at least it looks like that's not what the NFL is giving these offensive linemen about Hugh Freeze right now.
I think Hugh Freeze, obviously, we know that his system can produce NFL talent at that position because he did it at Ole Miss.
Yes.
Right? So that we have. I think what we've got to wait and see is he able to get in? We just mentioned the transfer portal, right? There's a couple of players listed on there. You've got to have material to work with.
Yep.
I don't care how good of an offensive line coach you are. If the guys you have aren't as good as the defensive guys they're blocking, I don't care how well you coach them. That's a problem, right? If you got better players, good chance you're going to beat me.
And we all negative recruit against one another. It's just part of business. It's part of definitely going out there after 18-year-old kids. And it feels like Auburn's had a lot of easy negative recruiting to go against us when it comes to offensive line play. So I'm sitting here as an Auburn fan hoping that now we're about to have some positive. It's kind of like Auburn on the basketball court.
Right.
When Marquise Daniels is your last NBA player, right, and he's back on the coaching staff, and you still haven't gotten an NBA player again, it's pretty easy to recruit against Auburn in basketball. And then Bruce Pearl flips it.
Yep.
And now we're, if everything holds on with Aiden Holloway, which it looks like it's going to, Auburn's going to have 4 5-stars in the last 4 years of recruiting classes. And Auburn fans like me, and you've been watching Auburn basketball, we would have never believed that was even a possibility a decade ago. And now it's become just more of the norm. So back to the offensive line play, though, when you look down at the ones that Auburn's currently got, you had the number 2 interior offensive lineman in the portal in Avery Jones, who was the number 13 overall portal guy, ended up at Auburn. Tulsa's Dylan Wade's the number 1 offensive tackle in the portal at Auburn. Gunnar Britton from Western Kentucky was the number 6 offensive tackle in the portal. And Auburn's right there in the mix for 2 more big-time offensive linemen, number 1 being Wyoming's offensive lineman Emmanuel Pregnon, who's a 6'6", 318-pounder. The number 8 interior offensive lineman in the portal looks to play offensive guard. You close out on Pregnon and you've already got those other 3. You've got 4 top 10 portal offensive linemen to an easy sales job to say, buddy, you want to come over here, you're going to play real early at Auburn University. It feels like the easiest sales job in the world to me, Jay.
Yeah, and it's always that thing of you're hoping that they wind up being,
yeah, sure,
you know, what you think they can be, but you don't know till you get them in there. And like I said, you got to have material to work with. So right now, it's at Auburn with offensive linemen, it's about stockpiling, right? Because if guy 1 doesn't work out, maybe guy 2 will work out. If guy 2 doesn't work out, maybe guy 3 will work out. And you're stockpiling as many as you can to try to get those 6, 7, 8 guys that you think you can rely on.
When you let it get in the situation Auburn let it get into, then you've got to stockpile, because it still says priorities for Auburn in the portal. You've already heard 3 that we've gone out and gotten, and we got a couple of more that we're after. But quarterback, defensive lineman, offensive lineman, and wide receiver. Still after more offensive linemen.
Yeah.
4 or 5 of them not enough. My gosh, JJ, how do we let it get here?
Yeah. Well,
if you want to listen to Brett Pritchard, he'll tell you.
The last 2 or 3 years of the Malzahn regime and the non-existent Brian Harsin recruiting model. You know, I mean, that's
you get what you get. More of the Auburn Blitz right after this.
J.A. Smith Construction, with 19 years experience, is your trusted choice for construction. Site clearing and grading for new home construction, basement excavation, concrete paving, storm drain installation, fish ponds, and slough dredging. No job is too big or too small. Call Alexander at J.A. Smith Construction at 334-531-0199 or email asmith@jasmithconstruct.com. J.A. Smith Construction, your trusted choice for construction.
Grain and Leaf, located at 6068 Highway 63 South, is Lake Martin's premier boutique-style bottle shop with a unique array of sophistication for everyone. Appropriately named for its exclusive selection of top spirits, wine, and craft beer, Grain and Leaf also has a number of fine cigars for you to choose from. They also carry the full line of Hornsby Farms assorted jellies and pottery. Open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sundays, Grain and Leaf is your premier shop in the Lake Martin area.
LMG Ad Agency is the go-to vendor for all your digital and print marketing needs. We have in-house production for all projects, including graphic design, web design, social media marketing, videography, and print marketing. Our video production is up to industry standard with modern 4K cameras and drone capabilities. We pride ourselves in client-committed relationships, and every project is personalized to your needs. Visit lmgadagency.com for a free quote today. Let us tell your story.
EnviroCare is the standard in East Central Alabama for all your pest control and termite needs. EnviroCare exclusively offers Centricon termite colony elimination system that is the industry's most effective termite control to protect your home year-round. The EnviroCare team's service is also the standard for our customers. From eliminating home pests to superior termite control, nobody cares like EnviroCare, serving Lake Martin and East Central Alabama. Folks around these parts have known for a long time that Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280, is your #1 stop for automotive service and repair. At Walls Tire, you'll always find quality service at a fair price on everything from AC, name brand tires, big or small repairs, routine maintenance, towing, and more. When your car or truck needs to run right, there's one place in the area to go, conveniently located and easy to find. Walls Tire, just a mile past the bridge on Highway 280.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro in Alexander City is the perfect lender for all your mortgage needs. Property values have increased and interest rates have never been so low. So if you haven't looked at refinancing your house in the last 6 to 12 months, Mortgage Pro is here to help you take advantage of that. Our team is closing loans in 15 days or less, so give us a call at 256-397-0248 and let our team go to work for you today.
For more than 40 years, Ingram Equipment Company has helped companies, towns, and cities with their dirtiest, most challenging jobs by providing the very best equipment and by helping them keep in tip-top working condition. IEC represents leading manufacturers such as Heil garbage truck bodies, Timco sweepers, Step pothole patchers, and many more. We proudly support all athletes and teams that compete across the state and wish them good luck this year. Ingram Equipment Company, ingramequipment.net.
WF Cabinetry in Alex City has immediate openings for first and second shift production roles in addition to immediate openings for Class A CDL drivers with the ability to be at home weekly. We are ready for you to join our family and grow with us. Prior cabinet experience is always welcome. Second shift offers a flexible 10-hour, 4-day work schedule, giving you a great work-life balance right here at home. WF Cabinetry offers excellent health insurance and 401k benefits as well as an employee purchase discount with daily production bonus opportunities. You can apply in person at 2212 Airport Boulevard in Alexander City or call 256-234-7900.
Hey, I'm Jeff Burke, General Manager here at Greenway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Anniston, where it's Ram Truck Month. Save up to $12,176 off Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn. That's a savings of 20%. Or select 1.9% interest for 72 months and save over $13,500 in interest. So come see us for all these deals and more here at Greenway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Anniston.
JJ, bouncing around a little bit on these last two segments of the Wednesday edition of the Auburn Blitz. You better be a great college baseball team if you're going to compete in the SEC. Top 25 college baseball rankings. 5 of the top 6 currently residing in the SEC, with number 1 LSU at 29-6 overall. Wake Forest at 31-5 is number 2. Then 4 consecutive SEC teams. Florida at 30-7, number 3. Vandy 29-7, number 4. Arkansas 29-7, number 5. And South Carolina back in the mix. It's been probably a good 10-year swing where we haven't seen South Carolina like we did for the 10 years before that. Yep. In the mix for a national championship as they're 30-6. We've said it a lot, and Kentucky's number 13. So how many is that? That's 6 of the top 13 teams in the country reside in the SEC. It's a buzzsaw to go out there and play at weekend.
It's rough. It's rough. But, you know, that's like I said, if you're middle of the, we were talking about earlier, middle of the pack in the SEC is not bad. It's just, but the league you play in makes it hard for you to get where you need to go at the end of the year.
SEC softball, kind of the same. You know, if there's another sport where they've really separated themselves from the remainder of the country outside of a team or two, in NCAA softball, it's really Oklahoma and the SEC. And from every once in a while, you'll see Oregon or another team, maybe a Washington that will throw a team in there that can compete. But SEC softball right now has got Tennessee at the top, 13-2, Georgia at 12-5, then Auburn and Alabama coming in there together at 9-6, along with Arkansas at 9-6. 9-6 record. Auburn and Alabama right in the thick of things there in SEC softball.
I would expect that they'll probably both be in the thick of it most of the year.
Yeah, remaining SEC series for Auburn softball team that's sitting at 32-13 overall. Got this weekend against Alabama. It's at Alabama. That's a monster. You got South Carolina following that, and that's a 7-8 South Carolina team. So a middle-of-the-pack South Carolina team that can cause problems. And then a really good series to close out the season for Auburn against Mississippi State, who's dead last in SEC softball at 3-11. So Auburn's got a good chance here. But the next 2 weekends, just got to hold serve, I guess, is the best thing to say, against Alabama on the road and then at South Carolina. So 2 series away from home is going to be tough.
And but can you get a split out of that, right? That's the question.
Oh, yeah. If you could win
a split and then a sweep.
Yeah, if you get a 1-2 in one of them and then go 2-1 the following, and you went on the road and those 2 teams that probably match up pretty well with you, and then you come back home to close out the season against Mississippi State, and you win all 3 of those, which it looks like Auburn would have a really good chance to do, would be a really good thing. Janai Broom's going to test the NBA waters, JJ. I think he's an NBA scorer. I think he's an NBA presence with that unorthodox left-handed style and the physicality that he has. But I think you and I have talked about it. I really question his athleticism, his jumping ability, his ability on the defensive end to cause enough problems to be someone that you can count on in the NBA.
Yeah, at this point, you're probably right, and you know, maybe he comes back for another year to. It's a good way, being able to test the waters is a good way to find out how teams view you, right? Really be better if you did this better. Well, all right, now I know I can go back and work on that.
Yeah.
So, you know.
If you remember when the decision was made for high school players to not have the opportunity to go straight to the league, my memory serves me, and tell me if I'm wrong, it feels like there was 20-plus some odd high school guys that came out and decided to go to the NBA, and only like 5 to 7 were drafted.
Something like that.
And so it was a really ugly scene around, well, what are these other guys going to do? I mean, they're going to European. There really wasn't a G League back then. So when the decision was made and they weren't able to do it, well, college basketball was out of the question at that point. So I'm trying to figure out where it went from. I wish that the kids could just go straight on.
Yeah.
Those 5 to 7 kids that we already all know are good enough to go straight on, go straight on. If you come to the college game, you got to stay 2, maybe 3 years. Let's make it more than 6 months.
Treat it like baseball. Just treat it like baseball.
Why would that model not work in basketball?
Yeah, to me, it makes perfect sense to just treat it like baseball, right? You can make your decision based on where you think you're going to go. Maybe even make your decision based on where you did go. Because in baseball, you can be drafted and still go, you know, I'll go play football.
And, you know, all the top 50 high school recruits in the country can go to the NBA, developmental summer league to see if they match up, to be graded, to see, and if they don't grade out where they want, they go to college games.
That's right.
I guess I'm a little confused on why we now have that for college players. We could offer that to high school players, but if the high school players choose to come to the college game, why not have them stick around for 3 years?
Yeah, like I said, the baseball model works perfectly well, and it's the way it should be. But what you have is the NBA Players Association is part of this, right?
Yeah.
Because if the NBA says, "Oh, well, we'll draft them out of high school," then you can't stop them from doing that. So it really comes down to the NBA and the Players Association and how they do it. To me, I never understood why you would want all the one-and-dones if you're an NBA player, because if I'm a veteran player, that's just more competition for my roster spot, man.
A great point.
You know, that's, no, go to college, but play 3 years, you know, gives me maybe another year or 2 in the league.
You know, the funny thing about the college game is I feel like 10 years ago, more were making the decision to go to the minors.
Yeah.
But now I look and I see, you know, the roster with Ike Irish and many others there at Auburn and around the SEC, and they've made the decision, no, you know what, I think those 3 years in the college game are going to benefit me more than me going the pro route in the minor leagues and about 6 months later realizing this is not for me.
Well, yeah, and so many times it's always about the individual player.
Yeah.
What they want to do and where they're. But baseball's the hardest one to make it to the professional level. It's the hardest one.
Especially swinging the bat.
It's the hardest one. It's the hardest game to play at that level, and it's the hardest one to even get an opportunity to play at that level. So if you're not a high first round guy that they're going to lean on right away, you can go play 3 years of college, get a degree, and then go the minor league route and see if you're able to work.
Feels like more making that decision too, which I think is a good thing, and I'd like to see it happen on the NBA side with matching up with the college game. Go ahead and take our last break here on the Auburn Blitz.
Hey, I'm Jeff Burke, General Manager here at Greenway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Anniston, where it's Ram Truck Month. Save up to $12,176 off Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn. That's a savings of 20%. Or select 1.9% interest for 72 months and save over $13,500 in interest. So come see us for all these deals and more here at Greenway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Anniston.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Something big is coming. Something so big, it'll change the world of chicken sandwiches. Zaxby's new signature sandwich with Zax sauce or new spicy Zax sauce, because the chicken sandwich war ain't over yet. The new signature sandwich. All the other little sandwiches can run along. We'll take it from here.
OGS Tournaments. Russell Marine and State Farm agent Aaron Warren present Crank for Bank 2023, April 1st through July 4th. Win over $1.5 million in cash and prizes. Over 200 tag bass and 50 tag crappie are waiting on you. All ages are welcome. Fish from the dock, boat, or shores of Lake Martin. Get registered now online at crankforbank.com for only $110 for 13 weeks of fishing. It's Crank for Bank 2023.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Bucks Island is your boating headquarters. Are you ready to hit the water and go boating this summer? Bucks Island has all kinds of boats, with one sure to fit exactly what you want. Fishing boats, sport boats, pontoon boats, and all with low monthly payments. Call 1-800-I'm-READY. Bucks Island Service Department experts are also here for you to keep your boat in top running condition. Call 1-800-I'm-READY. Don't be left standing on the bank this summer. Visit online at bucksisland.com and don't buy a boat till you get a Bucks quote.
Tails are wagging and pets are bragging about Zoom to Groom. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Smith Station. Zoom to Groom comes to you. It's mobile pet grooming from the comfort of your driveway. Schedule your appointment now online at zoomtogroom.net or by phone at 334-740-9909.
Here comes Sun, Sun's Automotive. The name's synonymous with trust and big savings. And right now, get a new 2023 Kia K5 for as low as $399 per month. That's right, $399 per month. Rain or shine, you can buy online anytime at Sun's Automotive. Family owned, family driven.
Let's talk about something near and dear to our heart. That's broadcasting, JJ. And I looked down, and Fox News just had this come across a couple of minutes ago, and it made me think, man, I love that guy. Dodgers honor legendary broadcaster Vin Scully with a tribute before the Mets game. Man, he was about as good as you could possibly do it, wasn't he?
Yeah, Vin Scully, one of the all-timers, no question.
Who are others that you, when you were young, kind of enjoyed and looked up to and tried to sound like, JJ?
When I was younger, I mean, first and foremost, has always been Keith Jackson to me. You know.
Oh man, yeah, I can see that with your voice and the way that,
Game of the week,
oh, he's super.
And Keith Jackson was just so good, you know.
He was.
And you know, I always kind of like Musburger, even though the Musburger does the one thing that bothers me sometimes, which is the routine 2-yard gain over left guard.
Yeah.
Becomes this amazing call, like, head off over the left side for a 2-yard gain. It's like, why are you so excited? It's a 2-yard gain, you know. But yeah, Musburger I always grew up watching. All of the guys that I kind of grew up watching on broadcasting were a lot of times the offbeat guys, because I watched a lot of those Jefferson Pilot games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always enjoyed like Bob Lee when he was doing some of that stuff and those guys. So, but Keith Jackson for me, it kind of begins and ends with Keith Jackson.
Jim Nantz retiring.
Yeah.
About as good as he's about as good, especially with NCAA basketball.
Yeah.
It's hard to find someone better in golf. He is the epitome. He and Lundqvist.
And look, Al Michaels. I still remember his call in the World Series game with the Earthquake, which was just probably some of the best television you'll ever see, as far as reacting to something happening at the moment. So Al Michaels was always a great one to watch.
I like this Dodgers story, though, with Joe Davis. I've got a story about Joe Davis. He was the announcer for the Montgomery Biscuits. And when we first got the AHSAA radio network gig, he reached out to us, and he did some work for us in the early going. And now to look up and see that he's the next Vin Scully.
Yeah.
He's calling multiple sporting events. It's just fun for me to see people that you knew before they really reached the level that they are now, and you go, I knew him, and he was a really nice guy, and he looked at that in a much more professional way than I personally looked at broadcasting at the time. He knew that's what he wanted to do for a living, and he went and embraced it and took it on. And now you look at Joe Davis and he's just exceptional. And, Herb Street. Do you like Herb Street?
I like Herb Street. I'm fine with Herb Street. But, I'm okay with Gary Daniels.
I am too.
And to me, he's a pretty good analyst because there's a lot of times where he'll tell you before it happens where he sees a momentum swing coming, and then it happens, and people think it's rooting against your team. It's not rooting. He's seeing something that's developing. He's trying to tell you what he's seeing.
Tony Romo.
It's not that he's rooting for it.
No.
He's just seeing it coming.
Tony Romo saw that.
Tony Romo, same way.
Yeah.
And Romo, just so recently playing the game, is seeing what the quarterbacks today are seeing. Whereas Danielson played, years ago, so he's had to kind of learn modern offenses. Not Romo.
I suspect that Tom Brady is going to be as good behind the mic as he was on the football field. Why do I feel that way? I feel like he's got that certain something about him that's not going to want to be second fiddle to anyone.
There's no doubt he's going to be very good at analyzing football. I mean, there's no question about that. What's his personality going to be like? You know what I mean? Because for so many years, it's Tom.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning, is going on Saturday Night Live and doing all that stuff.
And now Eli's overshadowing Peyton.
Yeah,
he's better than he is doing a better version of Peyton than Peyton himself is doing.
So with Tom, is he going to come? Because Romo comes across as a pretty likable, gregarious personality, right? What's Tom's personality going to be? That'll be interesting to see.
Vin Scully was honored and very well should be honored. And, I'm one to go back and watch. Do you like the old PBS documentaries?
Sure.
JJ?
Yeah.
I love the Ken Burns PBS documentaries.
Yeah.
Like, I listen and watch them multiple times. But the baseball one?
Yeah.
Has there ever been one thing put together better than the baseball one for Ken Burns? Have you watched it from start to finish?
I have watched, I think, most of it. If I haven't seen all of it, I've seen most of it.
It's just so good. And then the way that he brings the Costases and the Red Barbers and the old broadcasters in to give their feel and their sense of the game, to add a little bit of color to what already went on. I just love it.
What was the Yankees announcer for so long?
Barber was the Dodgers announcer, and he was from the state of Alabama, and he was the redheaded guy that kind of went up there, and he had a different voice, and he had a different way and cadence, the way that he carried it. The Yankees one is, not jumping out. Somebody help us out here. We should know.
I was trying to remember. Anyway, but yeah, great stories. But that's one thing about baseball. I think baseball has the best stories. There's so many great stories in baseball, whether it's Babe Ruth's career, Mickey Mantle, or
it's just the start. It's our country. It was the one that we embraced first, and that we called our own, and it's probably the way that England feels about soccer, JJ. And broadcasters back in the day, in the lovely radio world that you and I work in, that was where it was, buddy. You didn't have a chance to go out there and watch them on television. You tuned in on radio, and Ben Scully and Red Barber and many like that were just some of the very best. So, look, we honor him too, and we honor all great broadcasters.
Mel Allen's who I was thinking.
Mel Allen, there you go.
Mel Allen, you know, it was interesting. At one point in history, Mel Allen from Birmingham, Alabama, was the Yankees play-by-play guy.
Red
many
Barber,
years.
yeah.
And Eli Gold from the Bronx, New York, was the Alabama play-by-play guy.
Well, let that sink in.
Interesting switch.
So you got the Dodgers with Red Barber, who was from the state of Alabama, and then you had Mel Allen from the state of Alabama. How does that happen?
I don't know. Red Barber's from Dothan. Am I wrong about that?
I think you're right.
Anyway.
How in the world do they end up in New York being the ones that more people? I don't know. It's funny, but I guess we like to listen to other dialects.
Yeah.
Maybe so. For JJ, I'm Randy saying thanks for tuning in to the Auburn Blitz.